Let the magic begin.
Not a place on the map, but a state of mind that exists wherever people dream and wonder and imagine.
It's not so much a theme park as a state of mind, a Hollywood that never was and will always be.
Ready when you are, CB!
This is News Today with WDW News Today. I'm Tom Corliss of WDWNT.com. Please like this video, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell to make sure you never miss the latest from the Disney theme parks around the world. Here now the news for February 21st, 2024. After we saw at the Magic Kingdom that the Flume had been filled with water a few days ago, log ride vehicles are now visible in the Flume at Tiana's Bayou Adventure. There was no water in the Flume this time when we stopped by, but a series of the vehicles were at least sitting in the Flume, albeit dry. The logs are the same vehicles that were used for Splash Mountain, of course, however they have been modified. They've clearly been refurbished in places. You can see those rubber sections look pretty neat and clean. There are other spots where maybe not so much. The big change, obviously, is the Brer Rabbits are gone. Obviously, we expected this, but they have not been replaced with anything either. So they've simply sort of sanded over where the Brer Rabbits on the front of the log were. Don't worry, folks, they were all destroyed. They had to make sure that, I believe the word on the street was it had to be filmed to ensure that every Brer Rabbit was destroyed so none would survive from the attraction. But nonetheless, yeah, they're not there. The small posts on the back of the logs already existed for pulling the vehicles when necessary, but they had red tags on them that said rejected. We don't know exactly what the designation meant in this case, but nonetheless, the logs were sitting there. Hopefully it doesn't mean they sank to the bottom, and that's why they're there. Who knows? But nonetheless, Tiana's Bayou Adventure will open this summer at the Magic Kingdom. No exact date has been announced, but obviously we are seeing all these steps happening that are these steps just before you start testing with people in the logs, or at least the sandbags are coming next. The ice-cold hydraulics kiosk at Disney's Hollywood Studios is now open after construction walls came down earlier in the week. The new Coca-Cola stand in the Los Angeles-themed Grand Avenue outside of Muppet Vision 3D's courtyard, and as well the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge entrance it looks like a car. It's like a place where they work on cars, a mechanic shop. The special menu items are the candy-painted cinnamon rolls and the Bouncin' Mini Churros. Regular cinnamon rolls, mini churros, Mickey-shaped pretzels, popcorn, cotton candy, and ice cream products are also available. We tried the new items, being that candy-painted cinnamon roll 3-pack and the Bouncin' Mini Churros, as well as a classic, the frozen Jack and Coke. You can read the review at WDWNT.com. You can also watch Nana and I try all these items right here on our channel in a brand new video. But Ice Cold Hydraulics now open at Disney's Hollywood Studios. In a conversation on X, formerly Twitter, former Imagineers Frank Mezzatesta and Jim Shull confirmed that Elee, a canceled Star Wars Galaxy's Edge creature, could still be created or added to the park. Many pieces of Elee concept art have popped up over the years. She would have been a giant mechanical creature that would carry as many as 6 guests around Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at both Disneyland and Hollywood Studios. Elee was designed to be a relative of the Bantha, a Tatooine creature that has been featured in Star Wars since the very first film. Mezzatesta previously confirmed she was scrapped due to budget, and Jerry Rees expressed hope she could still be incorporated into the land. In a response on February 18th, Mezzatesta wrote, "Yes, we worked on this for over a year and it was pretty far along, but it got cut as a cost-saving move. It would have been awesome." Scholl replied and confirmed the infrastructure is still in place to bring Elee to life. Introducing the giant creature to Galaxy's Edge is possible. The land is built to accommodate the ride vehicle beasts, the station location is set, and the technology is understood. A relatively cheap way to plus the existing land. Mezzatesta then agreed to Jim in a reply. "Good point. Could always be introduced in the future. If it is, I will be first in line." Of course, Elee sketches appeared in The Art of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, a coffee table book by Nerdist managing editor Amy Ratcliffe, who spoke to several people involved in the creation of the land. Imagineer Scott Trowbridge said, "Elee was a creature that we designed and did a fair amount of work to figure out how we would bring her to life. Ian McKeag did some designs for her. We just fell in love with those designs. We did some models and figured out how we could bring her to life technically. And then ultimately what we realized is with the kind of population we expect in the land, we won't really be able to have her feel authentic. Eventually, though, a plush of Elee was released last year. Here she is. She's very cute. There's a book, too, that goes along with this. It's a really cute thing. It's a shame it didn't happen. We miss out so many of these, you know, I don't think the company sees the value in these small scale attractions that aren't necessarily flat rides, right? Like we're getting a lot of those. They build a lot of these alien swirling saucer type systems. We're getting that boat ride thing for Tangled Go Round, whatever you want to call it, at Walt Disney Studios Paris. We don't get a lot of diversion stuff like that. And look, I understand they thought the crowding would be an issue. Let's face it now, Galaxy's Edge has been open for a couple years now on both coasts. It's not really that overcrowded. There's path space. So long as, you know, the Mandalorian isn't standing in the path, there's plenty of path space. This could be done. Will they? I don't know. And personally, I think at this point, I would rather they spend whatever that money is to plus the land in other ways, whether that's add more missions to Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, or add a sit-down restaurant, or add another larger scale attraction, just push some of that money into something bigger. You know, Galaxy's Edge, in my estimation, is still missing something to give it more life. Like Rise is a fantastic attraction. The rest, you know, other than the lightsaber experience, I'm still pretty lukewarm on. Get it lukewarm. It's like the inside of a Tauntaun. But anyway, as much as I love this look, I love original characters and I love rides like that. At this point, I don't know that opening just that would make a big splash. So something with you know, a bigger impact should be done with the land at this point, I think. Or turn it back to the original trilogy. Did I say that? I don't know. First found by Dan LB2000 on the WDW Magic forums, Disney has filed a permit for demolition at the NBA Experience in Disney Springs, which never reopened following the COVID-19 pandemic closures at Walt Disney World Resort. The permit was filed on February 15th, and it lists general construction and demo as the general description of improvement, with the project assigned to Adana Corporation, which has handled large projects for Walt Disney World in the past, including the World Celebration Gardens at EPCOT. According to Dan LB2000, there is no indication in the permit that the entire building will be demolished as it was in 2017. That permit listed demo of structure and additional work as the general description. Of course, that's when they knocked down Disney Quest. CityWorks Eatery and Poorhouse also shares the building with the former attraction and has not announced any form of closures, and we don't expect them to. They do pretty well. However, possible demolition work could include removing the large basketball mural that wraps around the building or interior spaces that were heavily customized for the previous experience. Per WDW Magic, Disney has been actively searching for new tenants to take over the space, but the company has yet to announce a replacement. But in 2022, MetaQuest moved temporarily into the space to offer the limited-time demo of ILM and Labs' Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. It's also reportedly been used as office space for the opening of Summer House on the Lake, but they are now open. The NBA Experience opened to guests on August 12, 2019, replacing Disney Quest and offering basketball fans a chance to immerse themselves in their favorite sport. It never reached a high level of popularity in that short amount of time it was open. Again, closed in March of 2020, and then they just decided to call the whole thing off and never reopen the space. And that's the story. It's going to go down with like rocket rods and things like that is like the biggest blunders probably in the company's history. My favorite thing was several years ago, the first, it may have not been the first, but one of the replacements for Disney Quest was supposed to be the Void. You may remember the Void ended up taking a very small space behind Once Upon a Toy, where they did a number of experiences. In particular, their Star Wars one was still the coolest VR thing I've seen in my time. I think unmatched and unrivaled in that space. They were during the time they existed. But there was talk about them taking over Disney Quest, and each floor would be a different VR experience, and I thought that was, you know, such a missed opportunity. Obviously, the Void went out of business, which is sad, because, again, I think they did it better than anyone. But I think that probably would have been a more popular replacement. Maybe that would have saved the company. Who knows? But it's nice to see this. I hope this means something's coming, because that is a big, empty building to look at. You've heard us talking about renting DVC points through our friends at dvcrentalstore.com. Well, if you've rented points and gotten a taste of the DVC lifestyle of a Walt Disney World vacation, you might be thinking it's time to jump in and join the club. But did you know you don't have to pay the price Disney charges for a membership? You can save thousands of dollars when you buy resale contracts. You can contact our friends at DVC Resale Market to find out how much you can save. Go to dvcresalemarket.com/WDWNT for more information. We actually I bought a resale contract a couple of years ago with the Polynesian, saved, I think, over 50% of what people paid for it originally, and we got to stay in a bungalow, and now, regularly use it. So it's a great deal. I think it's the best way. Yeah, you don't get lounge access, but, I mean, do you really need free gummy bears? I think we'll be okay. Soarin' over California, which returned to EPCOT for a limited time during the 100 Years of Wonder celebration, will go away this month, and Soarin' Around the World will return. According to the Walt Disney World website, February 27th will be the last day to ride Soarin' over California. Soarin' Around the World will then be back on February 28th. The original version of the attraction opened with Disney California Adventure on February 8, 2001, and then came to EPCOT in 2005, and both parks replaced it in 2016 with Soarin' Around the World, which debuted a day previously at Shanghai Disney Resort. The bases of the Lamppost in the World Celebration Gardens at EPCOT have proven to be a trip hazard. There are now green construction boxes around the base of each lamppost while crews work at night to solve the problem. The lampposts are slightly slanted black poles with 2 black rings near the top, and the rings light up in different colors at night. The green construction boxes are a couple of feet tall and surround the bases of the lampposts, and beneath them we could see signs of some pavement work. Previously, these lampposts had small mounds at their base that were the same color as the brown pavement. You can see that in the photos now. World Celebration Gardens finally opened after years of construction on Walt Disney's birthday, December 5th of last year. The gardens are located in the center of what was Future World, behind Spaceship Earth, and includes Dreamer's Point with the statue of Walt the Dreamer. Judging by the marks on the pavement, the mounds have been completely removed, so guests can no longer trip over them, and Disney's likely doing something new with the bases, so it will be safer for guests. There's been a lot of criticisms of the World Celebration Gardens, and I'm one of the people responsible, I'm sure. I think there's a lot of this where they order fixtures and all these things and no one looks at them and thinks about how is this going to work when a guest goes through here, right? There's some things unavoidable. There's some things that you have the best of intentions and then you let people in and you couldn't have imagined what people were going to do to stuff or how, finishes were going to hold out and things like that. This is not one of those cases. I think just looking at them, it was pretty obvious that that was not the best choice, and I'm glad to see them very quickly fixing the problem. It's a good sign. The Figment Topiary has a new location for this year's EPCOT International Flower and Garden Festival, and that's at the center of World Celebration, where our king belongs. When we arrived at EPCOT on Tuesday morning, we saw crew members putting the finishing touches on the large pink flower topiaries that encircle Figment. The display is located in the EPCOT logo planter in the center of World Celebration Gardens, which opened again in December. The Figment Topiary has previously been located outside of the Imagination Pavilion. The Figment Topiary is the same design as previous years. There are 6 giant pink flowers around him, and he faces away from Spaceship Earth for an ideal photo opportunity. And at night, this area is illuminated with lights synced up to the Spaceship Earth light shows. We'll have to see how Figment will be lit as well. The EPCOT International Flower and Garden Festival begins next Wednesday, February 28th, and runs through May 27th. Other topiaries already in place include the new Goofy one, Lady and the Tramp, a Norway Troll, pandas, and more. You could see them all at WDWNT.com. We don't have time to talk about them all now, but there will also be new topiaries which have not yet been installed for Wish, Coco, and Guardians of the Galaxy. Speaking of the Flower and Garden Festival, Disney has announced the outdoor kitchens that'll be at this year's event, as well as their full menus. There will be over 60 new menu items, so please pray for me next Wednesday at the nearly 20 outdoor kitchens, including Cubanito at Florida Fresh and Peach Galette at the Epcot Farmers Feast. Returning favorites will include the frozen Desert Violet Lemonade at Pineapple Promenade and the Chicken and Waffles at the Honey Bistro, hosted by National Honey Board. For the Garden Graze Food Stroll, guests can collect stamps in their festival passport when they purchase one of 8 participating items, and after collecting 5 stamps, guests get a free exclusive treat from Pineapple Promenade. Festival-themed Disney gift cards featuring Orange Bird and Spike the Bee, sing along at home, will be available. These mini gift cards come on wristbands for convenient scanning. So stay tuned for our coverage. Flower and Garden next week, 60, I think with some beers and wines, it's actually 70 new items, I think. It's back to what it used to be. Covering a festival, this is going to sound like such a first world problem. Covering a festival first day is very taxing. And we've been lucky lately. The number of new items has been lower for several festivals in a row. This is getting back towards where it used to be when it was more of a Herculean task. So Wednesday's going to be interesting. The United Kingdom Pavilion restrooms at EPCOT have reopened after refurbishment that began in June of last year. The walls came down and the restrooms for both women and men, or ladies and gentlemen, as they say on the signs, are finally once again open. The entrance before the refurbishment had a small sign hanging in each of the two archways. As we noted back in January when the walls first came down, the restrooms now have signs above the arches with the restroom sign in the center. And above that is a bronze Waterloo plaque with 2 lions and a WC shield. Waterloo is used as a play on words. As while it is an actual location in London, loo is also a term used instead of restroom in the UK. During our visit, we were able to take a look at the changes inside at least the women's restroom, which is completely remodeled. As we anticipated, these original 1982 bathrooms finally got a full remodel. They look quite different. They look completely refreshed. They look modernized. And they're actually pretty thematic, too. There's now mint, brown, white, black, and off-white color scheme throughout the whole thing, instilling an English look. They're very detailed. This is a glow-up for sure. Can't say anything bad about this. I will miss... it's a weird thing being a Disney Parks fan. We get nostalgic for the little pieces of the park that have stayed the same our whole lives. I realize how psychotic it is to fall in love with 1980s bathroom aesthetics, but I'm going to miss that. It was a little piece of Epcot Center that stuck with us. Not an important piece, but a piece nonetheless. But these look very, very nice. It's a big, big improvement. Of course, now the World Showplace restrooms are closed once again because of this. This program is brought to you by our official travel agent sponsor, Be Our Guest Vacations. Your dream vacation begins with Be Our Guest and their concierge team of expert vacation planners. Head on over to beourguestvacations.com/WWNT, and their team will design your next magical vacation, from the Walt Disney World and Disneyland resorts to the Disney Cruise Line to Adventures by Disney and more. They're also able to book unforgettable VIP tours where you and your group can experience the ultimate park day. And the best part is their concierge services are 100% free, so book today. Real quick, I want to thank Park Candy as well for sponsoring today's show. I'm wearing one of their shirts. This is the one I wear when I have to go out into the real world because it's hard for people to tell it's even a park shirt. But then if I was at Epcot, you would know this is a park shirt. It's great. Here's the link to shop with Park Candy. Use code WDWNT to save 15%. And as well, you help support this show by doing so. Again, they don't only have shirts for men. They have all sorts of stuff. They have dresses and bags and bottle openers, all sorts of great stuff. So please go check them out. Also, I need to tell you that we are reaching the end. We are near extinction. Maybe it's a meteorite warning, like dinosaur. Asteroids in range. For Gertie, she's almost gone. We're reaching the end, and when they're gone, they're gone. So make sure you get your pre-order done now before they are history. Gertie the Dino, created by us, custom plush. She's very, very sweet, very cute, and very huggable, I might add. She's so cute. And look, she's friends with Elee. They're best friends. They both live at the same park. Yep, he's fully lost it, folks. Also, don't forget about Stage 89. I know you just saw the countdown ad at the beginning, but this is the largest in-person reunion ever of those who created the Disney MGM studios, including the Great Movie Ride, Muppet Vision 3D, and the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. It is going to be an incredible time. If you can join us in person, please do. Tickets available at stage89.com. Also, I have to tell you this again, the streaming ticket will go to full price beginning on March 15th. So you only have a couple weeks left to get that streaming ticket. Don't forget, because it doubles in price to $19.89 on March 15th. Save now. And remember, all proceeds for this event go to Give Kids the World Village. We are not making a cent on this. This is just an act of goodwill. We want to do something special for the park anniversary and raise money for the most incredible local charity. So join us again, stage89.com. runDisney has announced the themes for the 2024 Disney Wine and Dine Half Marathon Weekend races at Walt Disney World Resort. The Wine and Dine Half Marathon Weekend will be from October 31st through November 4th. General registration for the Wine and Dine Half Marathon Weekend will open on March 12th. Gold and Platinum Club Run Disney members will be able to register on March 5th. Bork, bork, bork. No, I'm not having a further episode. Racers, prepare yourselves for a 3.1 miles of Muppety madness hosted by the Swedish Chef during the Run Disney 2024 Disney Wine and Dine 5K. And don't let this race get by you. Join the party with Tiana and friends in a delicious 6.2-mile race adventure through Walt Disney World during the 10K. And anyone can cook and anyone can race. I mean, I did, so it must be true. So lace up for the runDisney 2024 half marathon at the Wine and Dine, hosted by Chef Remy and Linguini. During this tasty trek, you'll race for 13.1 miles to earn a delectable finisher medal. And then 2 courses are better than 1. Save room for more and take on the runDisney 2024 Disney 2-Course Challenge hosted by Chef Mickey. Complete both the Disney Wine and Dine 10K and the Wine and Dine Half Marathon to earn a special challenge finisher medal. I personally am grateful that Figment is not back this year, which means I don't have to run. Ticket prices will increase next month for Disney Resort Line monorail service at the Tokyo Disney Resort. A single adult ticket is currently 260 yen. Beginning on March 16th, it'll be 300 yen. A day pass will increase from 660 to 700 yen as well. The increase is reportedly due to increased energy prices, refurbishments of the stations, and updates to the ticketing gates. The Disney Resort Line transports guests around Tokyo Disney Resort, starting at JR Maihama Station. It's operated by the Maihama Resort Line Company Limited, a subsidiary of the Oriental Land Company, which owns Tokyo Disney Resort. Oriental Land Company is then a subsidiary of the Kasai Electric Railway Company. Try to stay with me, folks. It's a big mega conglomerate, but man, do they know how to run a Disney park, though. For the absolute latest on these stories and all that didn't make it into today's show, be sure to check WDWNT.com and follow us on all your favorite social media platforms. You can support the entire team behind this show and others by joining the WDWNT Inner Globe Society at patreon.com/WDWNT. Get access to exclusive content, discounted show and event tickets, and more. Special shout out to all of our WIGS members watching who make this show happen every week. For the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is Tom Corliss saying enjoy the rest of your today and have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. Now, I got to go feed these two.
Now on WDWNT TV, it's Boxed In. Boxed In is a casually chaotic show featuring WDWNT personalities Eric Morton and Jill Diffendahl, unboxing Disney merchandise and viewer packages, along with a few friends and a bossy little Pomeranian. So smash that like button, subscribe and comment, and keep up with the new Disney merchandise releases, seasonal releases, festival merchandise, limited edition merchandise, wishables, pins, and more. Join us Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern on WDWNT TV.